a psychology flip lecture, Baron-Cohen with Jesse Ortiz, Correa, and Gaby Camacho.
Okay, the aim, hypothesis, and purpose. The aim was to examine and advance adult tests of theory of mind. There are some high-functioning adults with autism and Asperger's syndrome, and these adults were meant to partake and see how they would score on the theory of mind test. The hypothesis was the adults with Tourette syndrome will be unimpaired on the eye task, whereas Asperger's and high-functioning autism adults will show a significant impairments.
Now, for this study, there was 4 groups. The first group consisted of 15 male adults with AS and HFA. They were self-selecting from the UK National Autistic Society magazine ad. The normal IQ range will be 115. It was a mix of socioeconomics and education. Group 2, you could say, is a control group, and it consisted of 122 adults from the adult community and education classes, from children from a public library at Cambridge. There was 55 males and 67 females. It was a broad mix of occupation and education.
And Exeter is a city in Great Britain.
The third group would be some students from Cambridge, and there were 103 undergraduate students, 71 in science, and 32 other majors. 55 males and 50 females, so it was kind of equal of males and females, assumed to have higher IQ than the other participants, but it wasn't really specified in the study. Group 4, it was IQ match controls, but they really didn't say where it was from, how they selected them, but they were matched with group one, and it was only 14 that were randomly selected, and their IQ range was 116.
There was no mention of gender or no mention how the recruitment was actually done. Each test was individually administered in a quiet room at either Cambridge or Exeter. And the reason why it was a quiet room, so it would be so no outside factor could possibly affect how the test was done.
This study, you could say, was more of a snapshot study than a longitudinal studies, because it didn't go as far as more than a couple of days, because they were just given a booklet, done, and they just did the results.
The procedure, all the participants completed the 4 tasks in the random order. In the eye task, the experimenter asked the participant which word best describes what this person is thinking or feeling. And this goes to according what the eyes of that they're giving on the screen.
Well, there was a lot of strengths and weaknesses of this study. The strength, one of them would be the quantitative data from a rather large sample. The test was kind of easy to administer, and you could like replicate the study since there were used booklets, and it wasn't really, and you wrote down, and it wasn't really nothing like big. It was.
Pilot evaluations of target words and foils with researchers. The pilot testing of original was 40 questions with control, so it was the same amount of testing for all of them. The experimental validity, the measures of autistic traits, and no main ethical concerns.
The weaknesses mainly was psychological validity. Testing done in a room, it's different, and then a different everyday context that you would encounter in a social setting. So it's basically like you can't really. It would be differently if the person was in front of you. They say, and you could tell what they were feeling if there was a real person and not just a picture, because the picture doesn't really move. It's just there. And also, you could say one of the major ethical concerns was the stress caused to the AS participants.
Like I said, Jesse said, the ethical issues are really weakness was that it may have caused Asperger's and high functioning participants to stress and be in an uncomfortable situation. But the strength of the study was that it did not cause a long-term harm to other participants, and any use of deception done at all in this study.
Yeah.
So that wraps up Baron-Cohen.
Woo! Baron-Cohen! Over!
That's, yeah.